It's amazing how the lineup really clicks when Hanley's going.
Yeah, I think for some who were a little bit worried about Hanley Ramirez, have no fear. Last year he had a tremendous month of May, hit .359 with 6 home runs. That was a double that drove home Chris Volstad. Now you're going to see a pitch out over the plate. Number 3 on the year in the home run department. Hanley had 3 RBIs on the night and had himself a 3-for-4 evening. Looked good swinging the bat.
Chris Volstad, of course, a complete game win last night. Josh Johnson goes in this one, as Tommy said, the big guy on the mound. He had a complete game his last time out against San Diego. He was brilliant.
Oh, he was brilliant. It was a beauty. He struck out 12 in that 10-1 win against the San Diego Padres. He was attacking all game. I think you could tell early on he had great stuff when he struck out. David Eckstein is so hard to strike out, but 9 innings, gave up just the 3 hits. Not to mention the fact he had 3 hits and 3 RBIs in the game. So Josh Johnson, with his 4th complete game in his career, that against San Diego, goes at it this afternoon. He wants to have the same game plan, attack, attack, attack.
And the Marlins will see a lefty, John Lannon, who the last 2 years has had solid years in the Nationals rotation. This year, he's off to a so-so start at 1-1.
You know, he's a finesse left-hander, not quite as slow as Jamie Moyer and not quite the pinpoint control as Moyer. So we'll see how the approach is of the Marlin right-handed bats, all right-handed hitters in the lineup.
On a Kids Sunday, Josh Johnson, John Lannon, and some hitting lessons from Jeff Conine. Niner will take some kids to school when we get back. And Nationals, as we get ready to go, before JJ takes the hill, let's head out to left field. Frank Fort, Jeff Conine.
Thanks very much, Rich. And on a Kids Sunday here at Sun Life Stadium, a lot of kids in the ballpark, and we have a kids theme on all our Sunday home broadcasts. And Jeff Conine, of course, was a very good hitter during his major league career, and who can forget the first ever Marlins game where he went 4 for 4. But, Jeff, one of the things young hitters have to be aware of, in fact, hitters all throughout baseball, right up through the major leagues, pitch recognition. Unless you're Vladimir Guerrero, you're not going to make a living or do well unless you're swinging at strikes.
Well, that's true. And, I try to teach kids, especially young ones that I coach, your pitch recognition starts at release point. You kind of got a broad focus, and when that pitcher's getting ready to release that ball, your eyes really have to shift to what I call the release point, which is right around where his hand is going to release the ball. That way you see the ball longer and as long as you can coming into the strike zone, which that helps you pick up speed, spin, and trajectory.
Let's take a look at a couple of the Marlins' young hitters who have struggled in the first month of the season. Chris Coughlin and Cameron Maben, and especially Coggs, who throughout his minor league career was a selective hitter, but he's been going out of the zone a little too much.
Well, I think mentally, when you're in the big leagues, you know you've got the talent to be here. And when you have struggles mechanically, you start thinking about different things, and you lose sight of the fact that your eyes are what's trying to focus on that ball. And I think what they're doing right now, what they're going through right now, is they're thinking too much. So that clouds your eyesight, and you're not able to see the ball.
Although that last one was Johan Santana. His changeup fools a lot of guys.
I've been there many times, done that same thing.
Okay.
So
let's take a look now at a couple guys who are swinging the bat pretty good right now, and that's Jorge Cantu, who's been really good all season long, and Hanley Ramirez. And we're watching this video, the form, where their head is at, the eyes on the ball, and recognizing the pitch.
Well, if you look at both hitters, their approaches, their stances, they're very different. But as you see, when it comes to contact, they're in almost identical body positions. I try to tell kids all the time that it doesn't matter really where you start, as long as you're comfortable, your hands are in a good, comfortable spot, because you've seen a lot of different setups through the big leagues. But the bottom line is coming down to contact with the ball, you're in the right position. And you see, even though they have different setups there, they're both in the exact same spot when it comes to contact.
The other thing I noticed is that their hands weren't way out in front. If they are, they're going to roll that over. The hands and the bat were back, and they're still able, with bat speed, to whip through there and get some power on the ball.
A lot of common misconception is, I'm going to roll my wrist and get more power. But you take a still photo of just about every contact of Major League hitters, it's palm up and palm down.
That's our hitting lesson on this Kids Sunday. So young hitters out there, take note. Hitting lessons from Jeff Conine. We got some good hitters in the ballpark today. We've got Zimmerman, we've got Dunn, we've got Hanley, we've got Cantu, and we've got baseball. Game 3 of the series. Rich and Tommy are on the way next.
Little place, big taste. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 800-947-AUTO. By Toyota, moving forward. And by Corona, kick back, relax with an ice cold Corona and lime. Enjoy a Corona today. Today is a gorgeous one in South Florida, Sun Life Stadium, Marlins and Nationals. Let's meet the Nationals. Here they come. Jim Riggleman's squad looks this way. Niger Morgan, Mr. Energy, leads it off in center field. The veteran Adam Kennedy is at second. Ryan Zimmerman has had a big series and a 9-game hit streak against the Fish dating back to last year. Adam Dunn at first base. The Hammer is in left field. Willie Harris gets a start in right. We saw Ian Desmond in game 1 of the series. Will Nieves behind the plate. No Pudge, at least to begin the game. John Lannon in the 9 spot.
It's always interesting to watch a pitcher, Rich, after he's come off such a terrific game. And we've talked about JJ's last outing against San Diego. Complete game, 3-hitter, gave up 1 run, had 12 strikeouts, and just 1 walk in that contest. Now he's 5-0 against the Nationals in his career, an ERA about 3.5. So he's on his way. You know, people panic a little bit. Last year, of course, JJ 15-5. Well, last April, he was 2-1 with a 2.72 ERA. This April, he was 2-1 with a respectable 3.19 ERA.
And if you go back, he left 2 games with leads that the bullpen blew, so he very easily could be 4-1.
So here he is making his first start in the month of May. See how the defense sets up. Bright sunshine today, so be alive. Brett Carroll getting the start in left field, his 9th start this year. Cantu and Sanchez, Dan Ugla, Hanley up the middle. Ronnie Paulino with the left-hander on the mound for the Nationals is behind the plate.
And a first pitch swing and a line drive base hit to right field. Nyjer Morgan cracks one into right. Cody Ross cuts it off. And the Nationals are off to a start with Nyjer Morgan at first base. He has swiped 6 bases. And, of course, the Nationals this year are running an awful lot more and with a lot of success.
It is an area we've talked about that Josh has worked on, but he still, once he goes to the plate, it's a little slow. So you wouldn't expect Nyjer Morgan to hang around first base too long.
Adam Kennedy provides a left-handed bat and some protection for a base stealer. And Morgan dives back in. 24 stolen bases as a team. The Padres have 25. Those the 2 leaders in the National League. And obviously the Marlins have seen both of them on this homestand. The San Francisco Giants arrive on Tuesday. Giants don't run so much, only 9 stolen bases.
Well, you're not going to look for Benji Molina and Pablo Sandoval taking off.
Kennedy 3 hits in this series. A 1-for-4 night last night. The National bats quieted, certainly, with a complete game effort by Chris Volstad.
By the way, 2 different moves over to first base, so that's what JJ's been working on. Just kind of change it up, give that runner a different look.
Morgan has 6 stolen bases, but he's been caught 4 times. And when you do the math, baseball sabermetrics study, talk to Davey Lopes, the guys that are the base stealing experts, they want that up around 75-80% in terms of base stealing percentage.
See, I like that, Rich. You refer to them as the sabermetrics guys, and I refer to them as the geeks.
One of these days, one of those sabermetric guys is coming after you. And he's going to be 6'4",
Yeah.
250, ripped.
He's not going to have the plastic pencil holder in his pocket.
No. Morgan is running. JJ steps off and then throws it into center field.
Boy, he had everything just right. He was holding the ball a long time, trying to freeze Nyjer Morgan. What happens? He takes off. He had him dead to rights at second base, and he threw it away. So he did everything correctly except the throw.
It's going to be a stolen base for Morgan.
And again, that's one of those little things we pointed out the other night that doesn't translate into an error. It's a stolen base, but Nyjer Morgan should have been out.
Now Nyjer Morgan is in scoring position, although Kennedy is 0-2 right now against Johnson. And you've got Zimmerman and Dunn after Kennedy. Adam Kennedy.
Now, I would have guessed along with you, Rich, and said stolen base. It's been a caught stealing and an error charged to Josh Johnson.
How can you say that?
You're anticipating he makes a perfect throw and the tag's applied and it's he's out.
That's a stolen base. Here's the 1-2. Ground ball sharply hit. Sanchez will step on the bag. Tommy, it's the same thing if a catcher throws the ball into center field, isn't it?
Yeah. It's not an error on the catcher.
No.
It's a stolen base, even if he has him dead to rights.
Right.
Or if a first baseman, the throw goes to first, the runners take it off. He throws it into left field, and he beats it. Stolen base. So once again, we beg to differ, and we'll see.
And Adam Kennedy does what he wanted to do. He moves up his teammate, Nyjer Morgan, 90 feet. Ryan Zimmerman steps in. He's driven in 13 this year, and he's had quite a series. So you got the best hitter for the Nationals, and you got the Marlins ace, and you got a runner at third and 1 out.
Interesting, because I was curious to see the approach that the Nationals would have against Josh Johnson. Obviously, they watched his last outing. They saw how he attacked the strike zone. Nyjer Morgan hit the first pitch. Ryan Zimmerman jumping on that first pitch and fouled it back.
0-1. Fastball line shot caught right there by Sanchez. Zimmerman hit it right on the button.
Now, if those first pitches are quality pitches, it's a different story. So a big out there to get Zimmerman and to keep Morgan at third base. He hits it well, but Gabby's right there.
Now it's Adam Dunn. And he gets sawed off going after the first pitch and fouls it off.
Another hitter, first pitch. So they watched the video. They said, hey, this guy is going right after hitters. No sense taking that first pitch strike. And they're being aggressive. But even being aggressive, he sawed off Dunn with that good fastball that ran in on him.
Niger Morgan, we're just underway. There's 2 outs in the first. And that would be a strike. Angel Campos calling balls and strikes. Paul Nartz at first. Brian Gorman at second. Ted Barrett at third. Our umpires in this one. Marlins have an extreme shift for Dunn with Ugla way out in right field. 0-2 coming.
Now, so far this afternoon, and this is where Washington is going to have to tune it up a little bit. They saw 91-92 from Volstad last night, and they're seeing 95 and 96. Up and in, the first pitch is right. That's like playing darts. You know how you want to hit right there? The first pitch is underneath those.
So, all the same spot.
So are they trying to pitch him up and in? And then just missed away. That's where the target was. Doesn't necessarily mean it was over the plate. But a perfect pitch, good location with the count at that time 0-2.
And we have that true center look again in our telecast today. It's a good look at that pitch. That one comes in low. And the count now 2-2. So where will he go with this pitch? Here's a look on Fox Tracks. Wow, maybe not so low. Fox Tracks says strike. So does Adam Dunn. JJ pitches out of it. And Niger Morgan is left standing at third base. All right, the Marlins and the Nationals, bottom of the first. And the Marlins lineup looks this way. Cameron Maben leads it off. Gabby Sanchez is up in the 2 spot. Chris Coughlin getting the day off against the lefty. Hanley at short. Cantu just keeps hitting. 6-game streak. He's hit 23 of 24. Dan Ugla, Ronnie Polino, Cody Ross, Brett Carroll, and JJ. And here's Maben against Lannon.
I think some of the lefties, some of the righties in the lineup are going to have to have better at bats against the lefty today. The Marlins have 2 or 3 right-handers in the lineup today that have not hit left-handers very well. Now, Lannon is not overpowering. Last start, he had a no decision against the Cubs. You want to say a Jamie Moyer type, but he throws a little harder than Moyer, but moves the ball in and out, changes speeds.
This is his 3rd year of the Nationals rotation. Maben taps it out in front of the plate. Nieves throws him out. 1 out. Here comes Gabby. Here comes the defense for the Nationals.
Let's see if Jim Riggleman made any changes for this afternoon's game. He has. We'll take a look at the defense. Josh Willingham, Nigel Morgan, and Willie Harris. Willie Harris in right field. Zimmerman at third. Dunn at first. No change there. Desmond back in there at short. And the catcher's Will Nieves. And you'll probably see that all year with Pudge getting day games off after night games.
And the target for the Nationals for Pudge is between 100 and 120 games caught this year. Here's Gabby. 0 for 6 in the series.
I would not have guessed that Gabby this year just 3 for 17 against left-handed pitching. Hanley 4 for 23 against left-handed pitching.
One from Lannon. Gabby drives up all the center, hit it pretty well. Morgan goes back, lots of room there, and at the track he makes the catch. 2 outs.
See how that scouting report looks for the 25-year-old left-hander John Lannon. Not overpowering, he nibbles at times, so you want to make him pitch. And no, he won't touch 90 the way JJ's been touching 95 and 96. But he's been pretty durable the last couple of years.
Here is Hanley, and Hanley certainly last night was a big spark for the Fish. An RBI double, a tape measure home run, had 3 hits, and Lannon misses up. Nationals on Friday night, a 7-1 win. Last night, the Marlins, a 7-1 win. Hanley fouls it back. A ball and a strike. The Marlins trying to win their first series of their last 4. They had lost 3 consecutive series coming into this one. And that, of course, was after winning 2 of 3 in Philadelphia against the Phillies. 1-1. Pretty good looking pitch.
Checking on Joe Espada down there in the third base coaching box. He's given Hanley a lot of room down at third base line.
He might as well get another chair and sit next to the security guy by the tarp.
You know what? He's done a nice job coaching third base.
Yes, he has.
Very aggressive over there.
Up the middle, that's where Kennedy had him played. And John Lannon works a nice first inning. We're underway on a Kids Sunday. Scoreless. up around 3:30, 4 o'clock when they know the game is almost over, and they can swoop in and get all the popcorn and hot dog buns that haven't been consumed. That would be the early bird special.
Probably where that term came from.
Here's Hammer.
That term had to come and originate in South Florida.
Willingham, Harris, and Ian Desmond. I know the other night Tommy lamented that we no longer were welcome in the Willingham households in Alabama, that they may have turned their allegiance over to the Nationals telecast, and it's good to hear that there are still a few Hammer fans and family that tune in.
Yeah, I was encouraged by that. Pick me up. It was a real pick me up for that day.
2-2 to Josh. And he checks his swing on a pitch that misses outside. You've got teammates here, Josh Johnson, Josh Willingham.
And by the way, another good aggressive approach Josh Johnson is taking at the beginning of this game.
And he lost him. Willingham, one of the best on-base percentages in baseball, well over 400. And he's aboard with a leadoff walk in the second. The next Fiesta Friday is on the 14th. The Marlins and the Mets, 4 for 54, all-you-can-eat seats, and fans can play Billy Bingo for the chance to win a Hanley Ramirez batting champion figurine courtesy of Majestic Athletic. 1-877-MARLINS or visit marlins.com.
Well, that's a 4-game series against the Mets, beginning on the 13th.
Mets obviously playing a lot better than the Marlins last saw them when they opened the season up in New York. Here's Willie Harris. Harris takes outside. The National League East, nobody really separating themselves. The Phillies a half game back. The Nationals a game back. The Fish 2 back. And the Braves have won a couple in a row to pull within 4.
I'll tell you what, he sure hasn't missed on any of those 3 pitches. If he missed, it was by a couple of inches.
Here's his 3-0. And that's a strike.
Yeah, it took a Roy Halladay complete game to quiet the Mets, who had an 8-game winning streak.
There's your Fox track look. First 3 off, and the 4th right on the outside corner. One thing I've noticed in today's game with the bright sun, it's a little tough to discern home plate from the batter box lines, the white chalk lines. That one fouled back. Willie Harris, versatile guy. We saw him earlier in the series. He's playing the role for the Nationals of super sub. He can play in the outfield, can play in the infield. Cairo, Georgia. Of course, that's Jackie Robinson's hometown. And it's his uncle's hometown, a great baseball name, Ernest Riles. Runner goes. And it's taken outside. No swing on the check. And Josh Johnson has walked the first 2 hitters here in the second inning.
Yeah, and walking a guy in Willie Harris who's in a 1 for 19 slide. He just couldn't find the strike zone going after him. And what it does now is he faces the last 3 hitters in the lineup. It gets that pitch count going. It's that a little high.
Ian Desmond.
But again, the luxury of the complete game of Chris Volstad last night gives Freddie a chance to have a well-rested bullpen.
And JJ's already up to 25 pitches. Desmond goes after the first breaking ball, and he's in a spot in the order here that if he can get Desmond, then he's got Nieves and Lannon to work on.
Yeah, the other luxury for Freddie, you've got the complete game last night and an off day tomorrow. So you can use just about anybody in that bullpen today.
You got Hunter Jones down there, too, who was scheduled to start yesterday before he was called up. So he is a guy that can give you not only one, but multiple innings.
Yeah, that was one of the decisions that had to be made when Clay Hensley went on the bereavement list. He also had Taylor Tankersley, but Tank more of a one-inning guy. In Hunter Jones, you have somebody who can give you more than one inning.
And that's the role that Hensley had played on the ball club, and we hope that all is well with Clay and that he'll be back shortly.
Actually, in spring training, we saw Hunter Jones primarily pitching that one inning. But right at the end, as he was sent down, he then became a starter and was pitching more innings and starting games.
2-2 on Desmond, the Sarasota kid. Hits it hard and fair and into the corner. Willingham's going to score. Harris, with lots of speed, is headed to third. He'll be stopped there. And the Nationals break through against JJ. 2 walks and a double.
It's amazing how the walks invariably come back to haunt you some way. And after walking 2 now, Desmond looked like he got a slider, stayed on it. Got it into that left field corner, allowing Willingham to score and chasing Harris over to third.
Here is Nieves. Marlins infield is back. And Johnson throws a strike. Nieves and 226. Jesus Flores is the guy that the Nationals have been counting on the last couple of years to be their catcher of the future, but he's had just about every type of injury you could get. And so it's Nieves and Pudge right now. A little tapper, and JJ up to get it, holds the runner, gets the out. Nicely done. A shorter pitcher probably doesn't get it.
Yeah, it helps when you're 6'7", well-timed leap, and also watch JJ after he catches this ball. First thing he does, he looks at third to make sure the runner at third, Willie Harris, stays there. And that's a big out. Like pulling down a nice rebound.
Here is Lannon. Well, you certainly think about squeeze in terms of being aware of it. But you've got Morgan on deck, and if you squeeze and it's unsuccessful, JJ could get out of the inning by getting Lannon out. There's always the cat and mouse going between both dugouts.
Everybody intently watching Pat Listash at third base, the Nationals' third base coach.
You got speed at third with Willie Harris and with Desmond at second base. Little squibber, Cantu, and with Harris's speed, he's going to have to go to first, and the Nationals get that run home. Slower man, maybe Cantu would have a shot, but Jorge gets the out.
Well, Lannon helps himself just by making contact and hitting it not hard, a soft ground ball. And you're right, with Harris going on contact, no play at the plate at all. As soon as that ball hit the ground, Harris took off. A quick peek by Jorge, but he gets the sure out early in the game. Want to make sure you get that out.
Now Niger Morgan, who singled to right, and takes a fastball up and in.
For John Lannon, not noted for hitting, that's just his second career RBI.
Ground ball, Ugla makes the play, inning over, but the Nationals make those 2 walks to start the inning hurt. They both score. It's 2-0. went on to win 7-1. They have 2 early runs here and a 2-0 lead against Josh Johnson. And last night it was Chris Volstad who shut him down and nearly shut him out. 7-1. The Marlins won last night. Cantu, Ugla, Paulino against Lannon.
Lannon might not be sure what to do with a 2-run lead. He's kind of been a hard luck pitcher. Pretty good ERA last year, 3.88, but a 9-13 record. Of course, his ball club lost over 100 games.
Cantu swings and misses, and it's 0-2. But when you pitch on a team that has the worst defense in baseball, which the Nationals did last year, they made 143 errors. A little pop-up. Dunn goes back, and Kennedy is over, and Kennedy makes the catch. Dunn immediately looked at Kennedy like, I can't get that ball.
Yeah, I hope you have this. I don't want any part of it. And Kennedy, knowing that, got there quickly.
The Nationals also had the worst bullpen in the major leagues last year. So look at Dunn. He's like, yeah, you take it.
Well, a different angle. Dunn going straight back. Kennedy coming over at an angle. And the last thing Kennedy wants is a collision with Adam Dunn.
Here's Dan Ugla. So you take that into consideration, bullpen, defense, and the fact that Lannon had an ERA last year of 3.88. The year before, an ERA of 3.91, and yet he's been 9-13 and 9-15.
He's done what you like to see a pitcher do. He's averaged 32 starts and about 195 innings the last 2 years.
You know, the Nationals haven't scored a lot of runs, as you pointed out for him as well. That's a chopper to third. That's Zimmerman. And there's 2 outs. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins. Paulino takes the ball. Ronnie 2 for 4 in this series. And Lannon falls behind 2-0. Paulino, of course, outstanding against lefties. He's going to get a 3-0 pitch here. He's .429 this year against left-handed pitching. 158 against right-handed pitching. And that one misses. Lannon kind of looks in disbelief, but Paulino is on his way out to first base. He's going to bring Cody up.
Good to see Cody back in there after that collision at the plate with Pudge Rodriguez last night.
And the report is that Pudge is okay. He could have played today if necessary. Five-game hitting streak. And a jam shot down to third. Zimmerman to Kennedy. And John Lannon looks sharp. The Nationals have a 2-0 lead.
received coming into the ballpark today. 2-0 Nationals on top. On a Kid Sunday, time for Tommy's tips.
Well, when they're men on base, always check the runner. And we saw Josh Johnson do that. Runner at third base. He got the tapper, made the play, held the runner at third. This time, Jorge Cantu checks the runner, did not have a play on Willie Harris, but got the out at first base. So a good lesson for kids. Be aware of the runners that are on base when you get ground balls, and always check that runner, see where he's going before you complete the play.
Adam Kennedy bounced out back in the first. Nationals got 2 runs in the second, and the door was opened by Josh Johnson himself. He walked Willingham and Harris, and the Nationals ended up getting both those runners home. There's Pudge.
Well, he has the day off, but he's intently checking on this game.
He's watching Josh Johnson. He's probably thinking to himself, next weekend, when the Marlins are in D.C., Josh Johnson will probably go either Friday or Saturday.
And Pudge will probably play.
Sanchez steps on the bag, and Kennedy is out number 1. In the pitching rotation for the Giants series, which opens on Tuesday, Tim Lincecum, Anibal Sanchez, Nate Robertson gets Barry Zito, and Ricky Nolasco faces Matt Cain. All 3 of those Giant pitchers have been outstanding this year. Lincecum and Zito have ERAs well under 2, and Cain has an ERA of under 3.
And Jonathan Sanchez, the lefty who's pitching today for San Francisco, the Marlins will miss. His ERA is 1.85.
If that holds, how can the Giants not win the West? If everybody keeps,
well, they need offense.
If everybody keeps pitching like that. Cantu plants and throws him out. Zimmerman is used to stealing hits from other people.
2 well-hit balls by Zimmerman today, and he's 0 for 2, but he got picked by Jorge Cantu in between, takes his time. The other thing you notice, once he picked that ball, he had a little time, so he squared himself up nicely before he completed the throw, just as he started to make that throw.
And now Cantu is back over where he started his career, over at second base. The big shift for Adam Dunn. Hanley stays on the third base side. There's the shift.
Jorge Cantu over there when he was a teammate of Johnny Gomes.
I think Aubrey Huff was on that team too. Tampa Bay. He's coming to town with San Francisco on Tuesday. Those young Rays had some pretty good players, but they did not have any pitching.
Now they have good players and good pitching. But they're having a little trouble with Kansas City.
Dunn hits a high pop. It's going to end up in the seats. The Rays still on top in the East at 17-7. Yankees a game and a half back. Toronto 5.5 back. And Boston 2 under and 6 back. JJ keeps trying to pound it inside, and that time he came too far in. Dunn is aboard. Let's see on Fox Tracks where that one ended up.
Yeah, and all 3 walks today have been on 3-2 pitches, so that just continues to get that pitch count up.
Again, the Fox Tracks technology, cameras placed in the ballpark, and accurate to within less than an inch on inside and outside. And it's essentially the same technology that the umpires use to grade themselves, the umpiring association, to grade guys. It marks where the ball crosses the front of home plate, which is where an umpire will judge whether it's a ball or a strike. Not back in the box where the player or the hitter is, or at the back of the plate. It's where it hits and crosses front of the plate.
Which is something I know we'll talk about when a catcher catches the ball. We'll say often it's not where he catches it, it's where it crosses the plate. And that's what Fox Tracks gives us.
You can see the distance between umpire and front of plate. And even front of plate and hitter, there's a bit of distance as well. Hammer takes a big rip. 1-2.
Good fastball.
A lot of pitches for Josh Johnson, though. Here in the third, he's at 54 already. Lannon's thrown just 22. You were talking about the Nationals lineup. They've got 4 guys that usually stack up with outstanding on-base percentages. Zimmerman, Dunn, Willingham, and when he's in there, Pudge. Fly ball right field. That sends Cody back. Now in, and he dives, and he makes the catch. Well, it was an adventure, but it's an out. And that's all that matters.
And Tommy Hutton. Last night, Chris Volstad with a complete game for the Marlins, second by a Marlin pitcher this week, and already third on the season. Look at the trend for the last 5 years. Last year, the Marlins had 5 complete games. In 08, 2 late in the season, which ended that streak of 301 games without a complete game. No complete games in 07, 6 in 06, and 14 complete games back in 2005. Dontrell Willis had 7 of those, but guys, already 3 complete games this season. We could probably debate whether Randy St. Clair's had an influence, whether it's continued maturity by the pitchers. But one thing for sure, Chris Volstad was efficient last night, no more than 16 pitches in an inning. That leads to complete games.
That's a good note, Frank, as Brett Carroll gets hit by a pitch. And Tommy, as you and I discussed on Marlins Live, the Marlins right now with their 3 complete games tied for the league lead in the National League with Roy Halladay.
Yeah, Philadelphia Phillies have 3 complete games, but they're all due to Roy Halladay. They're all his.
Now here's JJ after Carroll got hit, and he's going to try to move him over. Pops the bunt up. Zimmerman makes a nice play. He was closing and had to change his angle quickly. It shows you what type of athlete Ryan Zimmerman is.
Cardinals have 2 complete games, and both of them by Adam Wainwright. Good reactions by Zimmerman, and he certainly has that at third base. Came running in and then had to change directions, but did so and pull that bunt attempt down for an out.
Maben now.
Change up, and if you've noticed the fastball of Lannon, it's around 88, 89 most of the afternoon. He'll cut it a little bit inside to righties.
Always interested to see how Adam Dunn plays with a lefty on the mound holding a runner. You're almost tempted as a base runner, with Dunn's inexperience there, is to get a bigger lead, just to make Lannon throw over and see what happens.
Because then you're going to test the footwork of Adam Dunn.
Absolutely.
Getting back to the bag.
He's got to scramble back and make the catch. It's down low to Maben. And the count's 3-0.
One of the first, of course, he was a Gold Glove first baseman. One of the first baseman I saw play off the bag like that with a man on was Keith Hernandez.
And he did it so well.
But being left-handed made it a little bit easier for him to go back and then put a tag on a runner.
Yeah, you wonder if Dunn had to go back, he would almost have to make the catch and then spin around and open up towards the base to try to make the tag.
And then the other thing you wonder, is he thinking all that?
No. I think he's thinking about his next at bat. Here's the 3-1. It's down low, and the Marlins have runners first and second with some speed. And up comes Gabby Sanchez. Replay, fueled by Gatorade, returns with an all-new season. High school teammates reunite 11 years later in Hockeytown. Follow the journey of Catholic Central versus Trenton. ReplayTheSeries.com.
First little bit of trouble that Lannon has gotten into. Remember, Gabby Sanchez chased Niger Morgan all the way to center field, a warning track last time up.
Gabby Sanchez lines it into center field. That's a base hit. Carroll got a good start. Morgan up with the ball. Espada will send him. He's going to score. And Maben alertly takes third. Good stuff. And a big hit by Gabby Sanchez.
You mentioned the fact the Marlins had speed on the bases. There's that aggressive swing, a base hit up the middle. Gabby Sanchez, a lot of success when he jumps on that first pitch. We've seen the arm of Niger Morgan, a poor throw the other night. So the Marlins taking advantage. Joe Espada sending Brett Carroll, and also alertly good base running by Cameron Maben to go from first to third.
So it's a 2-1 ball game, and here is Hanley. Yeah, watching that one of those replays, you could see Maben just as he got to second. He saw the ball released from Morgan's hand and didn't stop. Ball in the dirt, and it skips away, but not far enough. Sanchez couldn't find it at first as Nieves looked for it.
So the Marlins capitalizing on a little wildness from Lannon, a walk, a hit batter. Marlins get their first base hit, and Gabby drives in a run.
Hanley drives that ball to center, hits it deep. Morgan back to the track, to the wall. It's gone! 3-run shot. Oh, Hanley for the second game in a row.
So many times we talk about left-handers that have a sweet, smooth swing. I'll tell you what, it doesn't get any better than this right-handed, sweet, smooth swing of Hanley Ramirez. Tremendous extension, straightaway center field, and this ball just kept carrying over the head of Niger Morgan. Second game in a row, Hanley has gone deep, and this one, a big one, a 3-run shot.
Cantu now, and he takes down low. So both pitchers hurt by wildness. The 2 runs that scored against J.J. both walks. This inning helped along by a hit batter, Brett Carroll, a walk to Maben. Sanchez then an RBI single, and Hanley a 3-run blast. And it's 4-2 Fish. One and two.
One of the guys in the lineup now, Hanley, has had nice success. 6 for 12 against Lannon. Josh Johnson thinking, okay, time for me to shut things down and have some good innings.
Cantu takes in the dirt. So Hanley already has 2 home runs in May. What did we say last night? He had a slow April last year, then went off for 6 homers in May.
6 homers, hit .359 in May.
Cantu a sharp ground ball. Zimmerman a busy day over there. And the second out of the inning. Well, if you saw Tommy and I in the mosh pit last night at the Willie Chirino concert, we had a good time. And the next Baker Concrete Super Saturday is on the 15th. The Spirit of Michael Jackson Laser Spectacular, followed by a fireworks show, all presented by Metro PCS. Marlins Mets at 7:10. A Marlins Maraca, courtesy of Leon Medical Centers. Ugla singles into center.
And Rich, I'll be working on my moonwalking for that show.
Yes, you will. Ugla base hit. Here comes Paulino.
Notice in this inning, all the base hits up the middle. Better approach, better at bats. Gabby went up the middle. Hanley's home run to straightaway center. And Dan Ugla up the middle with his base hit. Lannon's the kind of left-hander, if you try to pull him as a righty, you're playing right into his hand.
Big swing, and it's 0-2. Ronnie a 2-for-4 night on Friday night. The Marlins faced lefty Scott Olson, and Olson was outstanding. 6 shutout innings.
The Marlins back at it with their catching combo. John Baker hitting .281, has 6 RBIs. Ronnie Paulino hitting .300, a home run, 7 RBIs.
The thing about done at first, and you mentioned Keith Hernandez, you have to, as a first baseman, read the pitcher as well as the runner. So if the lefty's got a dynamite move, he could pick you off as well.
Oh, that happens, believe me.
Paulino into the corner. Ugla racing for second. Willingham after the ball. Ugla headed to third. Hammer got it quickly, and Paulino has to settle for a double. Not many people in baseball know that wall better than Josh Willingham. And it's second and third with 2 outs.
And I guarantee Dan Ugla, when he saw this ball hit, was thinking scoring. Good swing, our checkers double of the game. Ronnie Paulino, what's new? Another hard base hit against a lefty. But because Willingham played it so well, got to it quickly, got it in quickly, Dan Ugla was held at third base. But when he took off, he got a good jump. He took off. He was thinking that he was going to score.
Steve McCaddy, the pitching coach for the Nationals, is out to talk to Lannon. The Marlins certainly got deep into the Nationals bullpen last night. Craig Stammen went just 4 innings. 3 innings out of Tyler Walker, and then Sean Burnett for an inning.
Well, the Marlins batting around. Cody Ross, the 9th hitter to bat in this inning. And remember, it all started with Brett Carroll leading off the inning, getting hit by a pitch.
And JJ couldn't get a bunt down. He popped the bunt up. Maben walked, and then it started. So there's 2 RBIs out there for Cody. We're bounced into a fielder's choice his first time up.
Lannon, in this case, with first base open, can try to make some pitches. If he doesn't make perfect pitches, then he can go after Brett Carroll.
His pitch count is still well below JJ's, though. He's at 45 pitches. Johnson at 56. That's one thing to watch. Even though JJ now has the lead, he really has extended himself here this afternoon.
And I think that's what Lannon's thinking about. If I don't make a perfect pitch, all right, I'll go after one who doesn't play as much, Brett Carroll.
Yeah, they intentionally walk him. And so BC comes up with the bags loaded and 2 outs. Carroll splits lefties, righties is just about even. 250 against the lefties, 269 against the righties. Want to know?
Always thought it's tough sometimes a pitcher after missing and then intentionally walking as he did to Cody Ross. Now Lannon has to get right back into a good mode of throwing strikes. And he's behind 1-0 to Brett Carroll. Good hitter spot.
A strike. There is Ugla. Paulino. Ugla hit single. Paulino doubled. And Ross an intentional walk. Here's the last pitch.
I think it's a strike. Yep.
Carroll drives that ball to right center field. Harris on the warning track makes the catch. But the Marlins cash in and finally get to John Lannon. And a big blow, a 3-run shot from Hanley Ramirez. Hey now. For the 4th inning, Hanley Ramirez, 3 big hits last night, and this another long ball to straightaway center.
Boy, that was a beauty. Out over the plate. Full extension.
Our Geico quote of the ball game from Jorge Cantu: once Hanley gets going and everyone gets going, it's going to be fun to watch. getting the offense rolling.
Well, we've said it a lot. It gets contagious. Get a few guys hitting, then all of a sudden everybody else starts hitting.
Well, let's see if Josh Johnson can settle down. His pitch count's up there at 56.
It's a big inning for him, I think. He's going to determine this inning how far he goes in this game. The fact that his club has given him a lead now.
Harris swings through a slider. Willie Harris walked back in the second. Those were the two batters that Josh wishes he had back. A leadoff walk to Willingham, then he walked Harris, and they both came around to score. Do you remember his uncle Ernest Riles?
I remember. He's a left-handed hitter, infielder, middle infielder.
Milwaukee?
Yeah, Milwaukee. Played with some other clubs, but I remember with Milwaukee. He's a little taller.
A little skinnier.
Yeah, taller than Willie.
Down he goes.
No changeup.
I don't know that his uncle would have been able to hit that ball either. AT&T trivia time.
Number 6,
Flip that phone. Who holds the Marlins record for games played by a catcher in a season? Well, Pudge is in the house.
Yeah, CJ certainly would be a possible answer to that. I think when you think about catchers, those would be the two main guys to think about. Wouldn't be Greg Zahn.
LaDuca had an injury or two in his career, and so I don't think he had a full season or as full a season as CJ or Pudge. Well, this inning's going to determine how the rest of the day goes for JJ. It sure has brightened.
Yeah, it's gotten off to a good start. A couple of strikeouts. Harrison Desmond, a guy that he walked, and then Desmond hit the double off of him. Nasty slider. He's throwing good pitches. Gets Desmond with the slider and got Willie Harris with the changeup. That's what was impressive last night about Chris Volstad. From the very get-go, first inning, he had all three of his pitches working.
A liner right to Hanley. Well, when you want a quick inning and you get a 9-pitch inning, life's good. and by AT&T. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T. Rethink possible. Kids Sunday. Got the Coughlin caps.
It should be a staple in your household. Kids Sunday.
We have baseball basics. Tommy, please.
Well, it is a shutdown inning, which is what Josh Johnson did. After your team has given you a lead, you'd like to see your pitcher go out there and have a nice inning and keep it that way. And that's what J.J. did. He had a 1-2-3 inning.
J.J. and then Maben and Gabby Sanchez.
How about J.J. in that last outing with 12 strikeouts, complete game, but also 3 RBIs in that game. Had only been done 3 other times. That's pretty incredible. A pitcher to strike out 12 and have 3 RBIs. Dazzy Vance, a long time ago. J.R. Richard, the big right-hander with Houston. And Steve Carlton.
It's pretty good company. Dazzy was Dizzy's. Was there a Dizzy Vance or a just Dazzy? I know there was a Dizzy Dean.
Yeah, just Dazzy. Because actually I played with a guy in the minor leagues. He got up a little bit with the Dodgers. His name was Sandy Vance, and we just called him Dazzy.
Maben fouls it back. Cameron in this ball game is 0 for 1. He's bounced out, walked, and scored. In the Geico quote, Jorge Cantu talked about once Hanley gets going and everybody starts hitting, it'll be fun to watch. It'll be a lot more fun if at the top of the order, Chris Coughlin and Cameron Maben start to get on base.
Yeah, and then set things up for Hanley. You want to see both of those guys cut the strikeouts down and up the walk total.
And for Maben, he goes down swing. That's 32 strikeouts now for Maben on the season. Let's answer the AT&T trivia question. Record for games played by a catcher.
Got to be one of those two.
It's Pudge.
Yeah, Pudge in 03. Talked about his contributions in that championship year. Pudge hit .297, had 16 home runs, 85 RBIs, and just continued it on in postseason. Hit over 300 in postseason with 3 postseason home runs.
Fastball misses outside. Gabby drives it in the gap, right center field. It's going to fall. And it gets to the wall, and Sanchez has 2 hits. The RBI single back in the 3rd, and now a double with 2 outs here in the 4th.
Well, Gabby Sanchez continues to get those extra base hits and doubles. That is double number 8 for Gabby on the year. He just splits it in right center. For a second, I thought, look at how Nigel Morgan kind of pulled up. He's caught. Now he pulls up. He thinks his right fielder, Willie Harris, is going to make a catch. And I think that allowed the ball to drop. A little miscommunication in center and in right field.
Gives Hanley a shot here with Sanchez at second. Hanley yanks that one foul. Lannon is still below JJ on the pitch count total. He's at 62 pitches.
Getting close, though.
Yep. And so the Nationals, even though Lannon's been in some trouble, and no stirring down their pen.
John Lannon out of Siena College.
Grew up in Long Island. Popped him up. Dunn isn't even going for this ball. Kennedy is there to make the catch. He's a spectator at first base. 4-2 Marlins.
Lannon batea.
Across the way. Hi, guys.
Hi, Richie.
What's
Tommy,
up,
how you
guys?
guys doing?
Good.
We're doing good.
We are too here. I'm telling you.
It's a little different ball game than it started out with. Josh Johnson had some control issues.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, Tommy. I believe that, and Richie, I think that the umpire behind the home plate took a couple of pitches away from him that could have made a lot of difference. But he's pitching very well right now. He's got command of his fastball and slider, and now those 4 runs, I think, will make it a lot easier for him the rest of the way.
John Lannon is up. John Lannon is
Lo
down.
poncha. El cuarto ponche del juego para Josh.
That was quick. 9 pitches in the 4th inning.
When you have the kind of stuff that Josh Johnson has, that's the way you like to see him go after the pitcher.
Absolutely, especially when we score those 4 runs, you know. You come back and go 1, 2, 3, next inning, that's the way to do it.
All right, guys, have a good show.
Thank you, guys. You too.
All right.
All right, man.
Nigel Morgan. And he takes a strike. Morgan has singled and bounced out. No scoring change on that play in the first. It's still an E1 for Josh Johnson. BC's out there in left. JJ has 2 very quick outs here in the 5th inning.
And 2 outs on 5 pitches. Had a 3-up, 3-down inning last inning on 9.
And he goes to work on Adam Kennedy, who's 0 for 2. So he pounds the zone with a strike, and it's 0-1.
Well, he's much more consistent the last couple of innings. Good to see. Good to see a pitcher make that transition when maybe the first couple of innings he's been a little bit here, a little bit there, struggled somewhat, and then all of a sudden he's locked in. He's thrown 16 of 20 first pitch strikes.
O2 coming to Kennedy. Our Toyota trend. JJ at home since 2008, 12-3. And the Marlins are 19-6 in those games.
And we've talked about the remarkable comeback of Josh Johnson from Tommy John surgery less than a year
He was back on the mound, and since Tommy John surgery, 24-7.
2-1 this year, and his bullpen has blown 2 of his leads. So he could be 4-1. Right now, he's dealing a 9-pitch inning and a 10-pitch inning. And all of a sudden, Josh Johnson rolls through the 5th. On a Kids Sunday, baseball basics. Chalkboard sound effects, love it. Rubber match, the deciding game of a series.
Yeah, I think that actually, I believe, came from tennis, a rubber match.
I thought. That's a good question. Where did that come from?
Where did that come from?
You hear it in.
It really, you can hear it in most sports.
The use of the word rubber to describe a tiebreaker is believed to have originated in the English game of bowls. And I don't know if that's lawn bowling or a bocce ball type thing. That's Italian. But they've used it in boxing. I think cricket may have it. Cantu. Morgan circles it. Did he trap or catch? It's a catch.
You know, that's one of those very hard for an umpire to call. I think he caught it. But because of the way he kind of circled and almost hid the catch, right about here, but he caught it. That's a good play. Just played a little bit, went the wrong direction, but regrouped with his speed and just gets it in the glove. Nice play.
Ugly takes a strike. Dan, a base hit in the 3rd inning. Landing catch in the corner. 0-2. Ugly and the Marlins have a day off tomorrow. The San Francisco Giants arrive. The Giants will not see Josh Johnson. They will see Ricky Nolasco. It's Anibal Sanchez on Tuesday, Nate Robertson on Wednesday, and then Nolasco on Thursday.
And it'll be a tough matchup for the hitters, as we've talked about, with the trio the Giants will be sending out there.
Lincecum, Zito, and Kane. I'm really interested to see Zito. We saw him last year, and he pitched well.
But he really hasn't pitched well up until this year as a Giant. But this year, he'll come into that game with a 4-0 record and a 1.53 ERA.
Ugler reaches out and taps that ball into left center field. Drops in. Dan's got a couple hits. And up comes Paulino. And just reading about Zito, he's incorporated the changeup. He's a guy that the outset of his career in Oakland used to throw in the low 90s. He doesn't have that type of giddy-up now.
But I'll bet you his fastball's a little better than it was. And that's probably helped the changeup.
Paulino. You were talking the other day about hitters and how in the modern era of baseball, hitters have all the video and DVDs and everything at their fingertip on their iPod. And you'll not only get video of the pitcher you're going to face, well, you'll get video of hitters who are similar to you and how that pitcher attacks that hitter. And I think the hard part's going to be if you're looking for a similar pitcher to Tim Lincecum, good luck.
You're not going to find one.
No. He's so unique with his delivery. There's no one you can really go back and look and say, well, this is a similar guy. This is how he attacked me. Paulino cranks one into left center field. That's a base hit. Ugler around second. He's headed for third. Morgan's throw is off target. Paulino got rumbling towards second. He's hung up in a rundown. Now, whether they catch him or not, we'll see. They do, and Ugler can't venture any further off third base. That's where a little too much aggressiveness can hurt you.
Yeah, and again, it's one of those little things that is a big determination in this inning. Good swing by Ronnie. Nothing new against the lefties. 2 for 2 today. It chases Ugler to third, and the Marlins have been taking advantage of Nigel Morgan and his lack of throwing arm. But instead of Ronnie staying at first and third, not going to matter after that shot by Cody Ross.
Into the gap it goes.
We'll get back to that.
Ugler scores. Ross with a double. And the Marlins have added on 3 consecutive hits against Lannon.
And basically, that's called picking up your teammate. That could be one of our basic tips and quotes for kids.
How about a gap shot?
That's another baseball basic. A gap shot picks up his teammate, Ronnie Paulino, and also drives in Dan Ugler.
And in this ballpark, you have some of the biggest gaps in all of baseball. Steve McCaddy venturing out to the mound, and now the Nationals bullpen is in action with Lannon getting roughed up here in the bottom of the 5th. The well-traveled Miguel Batista is up. We saw Batista in Game 1 of the series on Friday night. (5-2), Marlins on top of the Nationals. Baseball all over the place, breaking out. The Marlins were the first game out of the chute in the National League, but the Astros and the Braves are in the 4th. Atlanta holding on to a 1-0 lead. So far, Derek Lowe is shutting out Houston. Cincinnati and St. Louis scoreless in the 2nd. Cubs and Arizona are underway. No one has homered for Arizona yet in that game. It's just in the 1st inning. But
Kelly Johnson hasn't hit one yet.
We expect 5 or 6 before the day is through. Here's BC. And Carroll takes a strike.
Now, this is one of those spots as a number 8 hitter with first base open and the pitcher on deck. You have to think a little differently as a hitter.
So what should the mind frame be right now for Carroll?
He might not get a lot of fastballs. Pretty good pitch he hit there out over the plate with an 87-mile-an-hour fastball.
It's kind of the reverse psychology. The pitcher is aware that Carroll is thinking, you know what, he's probably not going to get much to hit, so Let's go right after him.
Each guy's trying to outthink the other.
Ross's hit streak is now at 6 games, and he continues to contribute big hits. He had an RBI triple in last night's game. There's the breaking ball, and it's 1-2.
Yeah, where you can outthink yourself now with 2 strikes, you just have to look for the ball. But you can really outthink yourself and say, well, he's still going to try to make a perfect pitch with the breaking ball, and all of a sudden you take a fastball right down the middle.
Breaking ball, he was on it, and he drills it. Left field, over Hammer's head, off the wall. BC's got a double, and the Marlins have their 6th run.
Yeah, he looked for the ball. He did get that breaking ball. He wasn't going to get surprised with a fastball down the middle. And Brett Carroll with a nice swing on that breaking pitch to send it off the wall. Watch this. Here it comes. It kind of stayed. It was a floater. Stayed out over the middle of the plate. Good swing by BC.
Josh Johnson now, and it's 1-0. JJ's 0 for 2. Backs him off the plate.
5 extra base hits in this one. 4 doubles and the Hanley home run.
This might be Lannon's last hitter of the day.
It's a good approach. You know, this type of pitcher has been the type that gives the Marlins trouble. And this is a good approach they've had this afternoon.
A lot of base hits up the middle or in the gap, right center, left center. Every now and then our crowd mics do pick up something on the field that we regret. And so we apologize. There's a strike. Every now and then Tommy and I say something we regret.
A lot of times.
That's down low. So we apologize. That one is a looper that falls just foul. A preemptive apology.
Yeah, we should just apologize before the game starts for anything we say that we regret.
This was JJ's night against San Diego.
He had a nice stroke that night. There's 1 RBI. Hitting the ball the other way. 2 more RBIs. He'd add another hit. And he had 3 RBIs and 3 hits on the night.
Struck him out. So Lannon survives the 5th, but not before the Marlins tack on a couple insurance runs and lead it 6-2. Oak Flats or the Palm Beach Ale House. Fort Lauderdale, Shooters, El Mariachi, or Azteca. And in Miami, dropped by Mangoes, Ocean 10, and Rancho Grande. Corona, relax responsibly. No time to relax here for Josh Johnson. 6th inning. He's got a 4-run lead to protect. And he gets the best stretch of national hitters. Zimmerman, Dunn, Willingham.
Well, he's only given up the 2 hits, a single by Morgan to start the game and a double by Desmond in the 2nd inning. Zimmerman has hit a couple of balls well, though, today.
He lined out to Gabby Sanchez at first, and then smoked the ball down the third baseline that Cantu speared and robbed him of a hit.
And we told you at the beginning of the game, Josh Johnson 5-0 in his career against Washington. He had a couple of clubs like the Mets and the Nationals, who he's had success against. The Mets beat him this year. But in the same division, he sees those 2 clubs a lot.
Zimmerman's career numbers against Josh. The Marlins going to see the Giants this week, and then it's right back against the Nationals next weekend. Lincecum and Sanchez open up the series on Tuesday night. 2-time Cy Young Award winner Tim Lincecum.
He's one of the most unique pitchers. You were talking about his delivery. Nickname, they call him the Freak. Against Anibal Sanchez, who's been steady, hasn't had that lights-out game yet this year.
Zimmerman down to first, and we head to Frank Fort.
Number 41, first baseman, Adam Dunn.
Leaguer do it. Scott Cousins for the New Orleans Zephyrs hit for the cycle in an 8-3 win. The interesting thing is he did it in complete reverse order. He homered his first time up, tripled his second, doubled his third after a flyout came up in the 9th inning, and singled to complete the cycle. One of several minor leaguers who have done it, and Brandon Tripp did it for Jupiter last year. Robert Andino did it in Albuquerque, and a catcher named Torrey Langley did it in Greensboro. Although it's never happened up here for the Marlins, it has happened at the minor league level, and Scott Cousins, who had a very nice spring training for the Fish this year, did it last night for the Zephyrs. Rich and Tommy?
In reverse order, that's pretty unique.
Well, some guys out to good starts in the minor leagues. Scott Cousins, Brian Peterson, who we saw a lot of, hitting over 320. Mike Stanton continues to roll, 2 for 4 with another home run last night, has 11 home runs, and is hitting 346.
Was a leadoff walk that opened the door for the Nationals in the 2nd. And a leadoff walk here. And he busts him inside, catches the corner, and punches out Adam Dunn for the 2nd time in the ballgame. Time now for the Keep Your Edge Spotlight, brought to you by Just for Men, Mustache and Beard. After that shaky 2nd inning, Josh Johnson has settled down. He's given the Marlins the edge. You too can keep your edge with Just for Men, Mustache and Beard. Now a strike to Willingham. No swing. A ball and a strike. JJ's pitch count was at 56 going into the 4th. And his pitch count now right at 86. Six strikeouts, 4 walks, just 2 hits. If he can get out of this inning and they can squeeze another one out of him, the Marlins have to be pleased.
It's interesting, his 6 strikeouts have come, or 7 strikeouts, mostly after that first inning.
Fox tracks. That is a strike. I think Cookie is right. I think Angel Campos has had a very small strike zone in this game. I think John Lannon would agree. Hammer goes down swinging. 7 strikeouts for JJ.
Yeah, and 6 have come since the 3rd inning. He had 1 in the first inning, but he's been pretty much locked in after that inning. I mentioned the last base hit, a double by Desmond in the 2nd.
Hit sharply but foul. Willie Harris. Nationals giving Pudge Rodriguez the day off. Roger Bernardina, we've seen in right field the first 2 games. It's Harris in this one. JJ takes something off, and it's 1-2.
And I think we talked about it last night. Aside from their starting pitching, probably a vulnerable point for the Nationals, a solid right fielder. A position that you usually look at for power, for production. They haven't found that yet. Been kind of mixing and matching out there.
So far, the Nationals 2 games over 500, 13-11. 2-2. Left center. That could be trouble. Zimmerman headed to 3rd. And the throw comes in with Harris standing at 2nd. And he's got a double. And up comes Ian Desmond. 4th of the season for Harris.
Number 6,
Willie Harris is one of those guys, and he's been in the game a while. His versatility has kept him in the game, and I'll bet you it keeps him in the game another 4 or 5 years.
He's a left-handed bat. Play the outfield, play some infield positions.
Pretty good left-handed bat, too.
Yeah, that kind of snapped a 1 for 20.
Usually a pretty good left-handed bat.
Yeah, well, he is.
JJ just heating up.
Well, he still has 95 in his back pocket, so that's good to see.
Badenhop and Hunter Jones. JJ trying to get out of this inning. Oh, and 2. Got him. When he needed it most. He digs deep and gets strikeout number 8 and keeps the Nationals off the board in the 6th. Marlins up in the sun, 6-2. in. Jeff Conine, Frank Fort, Tommy Hutton, Rich Waltz will all be shipping out to parts unknown. Actually, 3 more games on this homestand with the Giants coming in. Miguel Batista is greeted by Cameron Maben's high fly ball to deep center field. And Niger Morgan, about 410 feet from home plate, makes the catch. 1 out here in the 6th inning. So John Lannon's day is done. And Batista takes over with the Marlins up by 4. Big day for Gabby Sanchez. There's Batista's line. Batista. Marlins saw him in game 1 the night the Nationals beat the Fish 7-1. Gabby's 2 for 3. RBI single and a double.
But, Rich, we can't be shipping out because we have to be practicing the moonwalk for next Super Saturday.
Well, we'll have to do it out at sea. Actually, we'll have to do it in D.C. That's where we're headed. Washington, D.C. next Friday night. And then we're going to Chicago, Wrigley Field. Marlins make 2 trips to Chicago to face the Cubs and then the White Sox.
Yeah, after the Wrigley Field trip, come back home and then head out to St. Louis,
where we're only stopping for fuel.
Yeah, 2 quick games. A night game, day game, and then on to Chicago for the White Sox.
Out of there.
But we'll see Juan Pierre with the White Sox.
Yes, we will.
We'll see Andrew Jones. We'll see Ozzie Guillen.
Andrew Jones looks like a completely different hitter, at least the early part of this season.
Yeah, he had a 2-homer game last night.
Time now for the Coors Light Cold Hard Blast. This would be Hanley. This would be a 3-run shot. Majestic into center field. Hanley 1 for 3. Now with 13 runs driven in, 4 homers on the season. Hanley drives this one to left. That one's deep. That one's gone.
Who was worried about Hanley?
Deja vu all over again. We should have just done the Cold Hard Blast live.
Well, 10 times he's had a multi-homer game, 4 RBIs, and 14 now on the year.
Cantu chops it to short, and that'll do it for the Marlins. One more time from Hanley Ramirez. Same swing, same result. trying to take this series. Now, are those Navy guys? I'm not sure. I mean, look at the hat. The one guy's got like a soul patch on.
Yeah, it's a branch that I'm not familiar with.
Can you have a soul patch in the Navy? Now, that's a Navy man.
That's a Navy man.
That is a Navy man. Here's the hopper. So Badenhop comes in with a 5-run cushion, and the Marlins bullpen needs to get 9 outs to secure this win. Will Nieves is up, and Badenhop fires in a strike. Wes Helms is at third base.
And Jorge Cantu moves over to first.
I don't know. Maybe those guys are Coast Guard.
Just as important.
Merchant Marine.
Merchant Marine, possibly.
Badenhop's numbers, his ERA at 3.65.
I think the Merchant Marine may be a little more lax in the soul patch.
Is that a pledge pin on your uniform? A soul patch? See, I think that's Frank Fort. Frank's got to get to the bottom and find out where those guys are from.
It could be a...
Hurry,
No, they're heading out, though.
No,
Two of them still there. I'll head that way.
All right.
Rich, I think it could be
We'll investigate.
I think it could be a casting call for the new Reunion Village People group.
They're trying to get on the docket for Super Saturday. Swing and a miss by Will Nieves. And the hopper with a good start here in the 7th inning.
Hey, we're just getting fans ready for Email Tuesday. I like to promote Email Tuesday. We've been kind of disjointed with some no TV games on Tuesday, so I'm looking forward to this Tuesday night.
Badenhop now goes to work on Roger Bernardina, who is pinch hitting here. Tuesday night is going to be a huge night for emails for a lot of reasons. Number one, Tim Lincecum is pitching. The Giants are in town. Number two, as Tommy said, we really haven't had a full-out email Tuesday bonanza yet. Number three, we're going to take a poll as to whether the viewers like our new center field camera location as opposed to the offset one. Number four, David Sampson will be by. He'll answer questions about the stadium. And number five, anyone that recognizes those guys in the white suits, I'm sure will let us know what branch of the service they're from. Unless Frank gets there first. There you go. There's no trash can around, so he puts it nicely in the cup holder.
Very, very good.
And not a drop on the uniform. That went in and out of the glove of Paulino. Josh Johnson's day, last 6 innings. 98 pitches. Gives up just the 3 hits and the 2 runs.
I think when you look back at JJ's outing today, he made a nice comeback. He was a little unsettled those first 2 innings.
Hug going to first. Let's freeze something since it's the 6th inning. Josh Johnson in the strikeouts. 12 strikeouts his last time out. He racks up 8 in this one. The Frostbrewed Coors Light freeze can. And the majority of his strikeouts, Tommy, came after he entered the 4th inning with 56 pitches.
That's right. 7 of the 8 strikeouts came from the 4th inning on.
now the Nationals get a completely different look with Badenhop and his variety of sinkers and sliders. Niger Morgan, 1 for 3. Oh, 2. Did not go, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. That's Ted Barrett out there at third base. He worked the dish last night. Here's the 1-2 pitch. BC got all turned around, and he makes the catch. That's the important part. Frank Fort has arrived and has the answer when we return.
Are you enjoying the ball game?
We're here for the week. Yeah, we're having a great time. It's a little warm, but other than that, it's a great time. Everybody treats us good when we come here. We really appreciate it.
How many of your shipmates are with you today? You have any idea?
There's supposed to be about 400 or so of us here, yeah.
What's the crew? How many on that ship?
A little over 1,000.
And, well, we want to thank you for your service to our country. We all appreciate it, and hopefully enjoy the rest of the ball game. Welcome to Fleet Week.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys, back up to you. Anytime you see a service person, as John Baker and Chris Coughlin told us after their trip over to the Middle East, just say thanks and support them any way you can.
So, Frank, the guys that we saw, not that guy, but the guys that we saw were from the German Navy.
That is correct, the German Navy. They also are in town for Fleet Week. They weren't very talkative, but yes, they were from the German Navy, which accounts for the difference in the cover or the headwear, as you saw.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah, you're right. Always good to see the military. And we love to support them and happy that they're out here enjoying the game.
Dan Ugler, Ronnie Polino, Cody Ross. Nationals have made another pitching change. Uggla's 2 for 3. Ryan Bruni is pitching to Uggla. Roger Bernardina stays in the ball game, and so in a double switch, Jim Riggleman has Bernardina in the 9 spot, and Bruni will be in the leadoff spot in Morgan's position in the Nationals lineup. Now there they are, the German Navy.
They went to go get some more ice cream.
Frank doesn't speak in Deutsch. We have a German translator. Jim Holly, our director, as Frank mentioned, is a
noted historian.
Avid historian. Does speak a little bit of German. Had a chance to do a NFL Europe game in Berlin on a couple of occasions.
That's a long trip.
It is a long trip. It's a great city.
You can get your charts done on the plane. The flight over.
One of the games was at the Olympic Stadium, the same stadium that Jesse Owens had the historic games. Was that 36?
32, 36.
I'm not sure, but
again, we should ask Jim Howard.
Yes. See, now that's the officer wearing the Marlins hat.
Yeah. Very nice.
Uggla with the count 3-2. Tops it out to Desmond at short. And Uggla is out here in the 7th. Our leaders of the game presented by JM Lexus. Day games. Florida fewest in Major League Baseball. Marlins have just 5. At JM Lexus, Price made us #1. 18 years running. Check jmlexus.com and find out how.
Of course, the Cubs are always going to lead that list. And a lot of getaway games are day games.
It's tough for the Marlins to play day games from this point forward because of the oppressive heat in this ballpark. Obviously, you got to play them on Sundays for travel reasons. You wonder if and that's a question for David on Tuesday night, with the new ballpark, retractable roof, air conditioning.
If any of the times will change, game times. Yeah, that's good. File that one away.
I'll write that down. Ryan Bruni with the count 1-2 on Ronnie Polino. Anything else on our list for David? Oh, we had an email question about shuttle buses from light rail to the ballpark.
And any progress on naming rights?
Breaking ball. Polino knew it as a strike, and Bruni's retired the first 2 that he has faced. You know, we can ask David his impression of the center field look that we've changed on this homestand.
Now, we should explain that is something that has to be approved, MLB,
right?
As far as making that change.
Well, because most stadiums are designed for the offset look. In most ballparks, you see an offset look, and that comes from the 2 guys on the left. But our guy,
Tim Mason,
on the right. And some ballparks have gone to that. with a variety of success. I know St. Louis has done that. Boston has done it. Texas has done it.
Look at that Tim up there in the shade.
See, if Tim moved up one row higher, he'd be in air conditioning.
And he'd be in a suite with food.
That's right. We could make that the party suite. Cody fouls it off. The hard part, I guess the trick from that camera angle is if you go too high, you kind of lose balls and strikes in terms of at the knees or at the letters. The perspective is different.
So you're right. That would be a good question. In the design of the new ballpark, will we be allowed to have a camera in that area?
Or a party suite next to our booth. Kennedy, Ryan Zimmerman, Adam Dunn scheduled to appear against the Hopper. Josh Johnson, 6 innings of work. And the bullpen trying to nail down win number 3 for Josh. And win number 13 for the Marlins. This would pull the Marlins even with the Nationals at 13 and 12.
And get the Marlins back over that 500 mark.
But there are 6 outs to get. Badenhop throws a strike. Well, Matt Capps hasn't thrown in this series, and with closers, you got to use him to keep him sharp, so it looks like we're going to see him. BC's out in the left, and he makes the catch on a slicing liner from Adam Kennedy. Up comes Zimmerman. Braves seem to have found that love and feeling again. They've won 2 in a row, and they lead Houston 4-1 in the bottom of the 5th. Saw an article titled the other day, "Can the Braves recover in 2010?" which seemed pretty absurd since it was the end of April.
I think they'll be just fine. And a nice game from Troy Gloss yesterday. He had 4 RBIs. You mentioned Jason Hayward, the youngster, back on track, 7 home runs. He has 20 RBIs.
Cubs have a homer from Soriano and a 4-0 lead over Arizona in the 3rd. Badenhop breaking ball is high to Zimmerman.
And the Braves starting pitchers will keep them on track.
Speaking of good starting pitching, Justin Verlander is throwing a 1-hit shutout against the Angels in the 8th inning, 5-0 Tigers. That That ball smoked and hit so hard it goes all the way to the wall. Zimmerman has his third double of the series. He has 2 homers, 3 doubles, and man, did he hit that ball hard. This is one of the fastest outfield grass surfaces in baseball, but Zimmerman still stung it.
Yeah, we talked about the infield grass, but the outfield grass just as fast. There are many outfields, even as hard hit as that ball was, it might not get through the gap. But on the year, 10 doubles now. Jason Worth leading the National League with 11. So Ryan Zimmerman right there.
Worth and the Phillies tonight are the Sunday night game against the Mets. Phillies are 13-10.
An intriguing matchup in that game.
Yeah, Santana against Moyer. Mets are 14-10. Phillies are 13-10. Dodgers are at home against Pittsburgh tonight. The Rockies are in San Francisco, where the Giants have won the first 2 games of that series and will go for the sweep before headed out here to face the Marlins. Rockies get Jonathan Sanchez in that ballgame. Chris LaRue and Hunter Jones. That one, Dunn gets through the shift and into right field. And that's an RBI hit. Zimmerman scores.
Adam Dunn just goes up there. He's not going to worry about the shift. He's just going to have the same kind of swings. And this breaking ball gets into a zone, and he finds that zone between first and second, even with the shift on.
I think that's a ball, Tommy, that if Jorge Cantu had to do it all over again, he may have gone after that ball. I think he thought Uggla was over. I mean, it's hard to judge where everybody is on a shift like that. But when that ball left the bat, I thought Cantu had a shot at the ball.
And I think when you make that transition from third to first, you know, your third, you're dealing with the shortstop on your left. And now you go over everything's the opposite over at first base.
Now it's Willingham, who's 0 for 2. Willingham shoots that one foul, and the count's 1 ball and 1 strike. The Nationals, while the Marlins are taking on the Giants, are home to face the Braves for 3. Then, of course, the Fish are there for 3.
And with the Marlins playing the White Sox, their first venture into interleague play, who the Nationals have in that week? I would guess they would also have an interleague matchup.
Looks like Baltimore.
Who the Marlins will play. Marlins go to Baltimore. That's the rivalry that the Nationals have. They play the Orioles in 2 series, I believe. The Beltway rivalry.
Yeah, Major League Baseball had to do a little bit of jockeying when the Expos moved to Washington, because then suddenly the natural rivalries changed for a few teams. Used to be the Expos would play Toronto. But, I mean, there still are some challenges as to finding natural rivals in interleague play. Is Philadelphia's natural rival still Toronto? Because of the World Series? I mean, that makes no sense.
It doesn't.
If it's just a World Series rematch. swing and a miss. Boston and Atlanta, aren't they natural rivals? That
because at one time the Boston Braves.
Yeah, but I mean,
I think that mark that down for Tuesday night. I think that's a good question, something we could have our emailers input and their thoughts on interleague play.
I got a big list going here. Freddie comes out.
I have more paper.
Removes the hopper. Hunter Jones is coming in here, so Maroney call to the bullpen.
Who you gonna call?
Luis Enrique with Jerry Rivera on May 29th, 1877 Marlins, or visit marlins.com.
Now we get our first look. Marlins fans get their first look at Hunter Jones, who is not making his Major League debut, but he is making his National League debut. Came up with the Red Sox for 11 games last year. He put together a solid minor league career, mostly working out of the bullpen coming up in the Red Sox organization. He really possesses all the pitches, and that's why the Marlins had him starting in the minor leagues. But now he's working in a relief role.
Justin Maxwell is going to pinch hit. And so Maxwell is going to face Jones. Maxwell has been one of the top prospects in the Nationals minor leagues for some time, out of the University of Maryland. He is 26.
And as Chris Volstad, Hunter Jones, born in Palm Beach Gardens, Hunter Jones went to Dwyer High School, a rival high school of Palm Beach Gardens High School, where Volstad went.
Obviously, with a 4-run lead in the 8th inning, his job is to throw strikes. And he's fallen behind now, 3-0. So LaRue is ready. You've got Desmond, a right-handed hitter, on deck. And Jones comes in and throws 4 balls and walks Justin Maxwell.
And that's going to be all. Freddie has seen enough. He was hoping to get the matchup lefty-lefty, but now with right-handers due up, Freddie's going to go to Chris LaRue.
7-3, Marlins on top. 8th inning. This would be a Maroney call to the bullpen.
got by everybody, and Cody Ross was able to score.
Chris LaRue comes in, and he throws a strike at Ian Desmond.
And I think Adam Dunn, as he plays first base a little more, he'll realize you have to look at that runner out of the corner of your eye and also keep your eye on the throw at the same time.
Either that or he's going to get hit. I'm going to foul back to the screen. Oh, 2 to Desmond. Told you he's a Sarasota guy. Another Sarasota kid is rapidly rising up the Red Sox chain. Casey Kelly, the top pick of the Red Sox a couple years ago, star quarterback and shortstop. His father, Pat Kelly, a big league catcher. Well, Casey, I believe, is in Double-A with the Red Sox right now. Well, that was easy. Chris LaRue comes in and takes care of Ian Desmond. 7-3 Fish. Roger Bernardina, who also came in the middle of the game, ends up in right field.
And Brian Rooney is still in the game on the mound.
On Marlins Live, immediately following the ball game, Frank Fort will report on the German Navy. And you look at Hanley's big day. Gabby Sanchez in the 2 spot. And the Giants are coming. Marlins will get Tim Lincecum right out of the chute. Brett Carroll pulls one foul. What do you think the German Navy thinks of the Mermaids?
I think they like the entertaining value at the ballpark.
I think they like the ice cream.
The ice cream, certainly. Billy, mermaids.
Cotton candy. Two and one. This was a John Lannon start. He lasted 5. Josh Johnson went 6. And both right now are lined up for the decision if the Marlins can hold on to this lead. Yeah, Brett Carroll works a walk. Carroll's been on base 3 times.
Hey, good job for BC getting a chance to start. This is the 9th game that he has started this year. 4 in right field. Now 5 games he started in left field.
Wes Helms, and Helms takes a fastball up. So when the Marlins made that move with Helms coming into the game, Helms comes into the 9 spot.
Yeah, the pitcher right now, Chris LaRue, in the number 2 spot. Fun to see Wes out here a lot of times during the week and night games. He has his young son Wes with him and out there shagging. Wes said he comes out about 1 o'clock and then lets him get on the field for about an hour, and they hit and they throw. And then once the Marlins start doing drills, they'll go out and shag in the outfield.
We talk about, and we just saw it with the Padres, the sons of major leaguers on that roster, and what an advantage it is for those kids to be around a major league clubhouse and to have a dad like Wes who brings them out and works with them.
Well, you can almost be certain that Tony Gwynn Jr. was out there as a kid.
The Hairstons.
The Hairstons were out there.
There were a lot of kids in that. We talked to Aaron Boone about growing up with the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah, I saw Aaron and Brett out on the field as little kids.
Pete Rose's son did get to the big leagues. Tony Perez's kid got to the big leagues. A lot of kids from that big red machine also ending up as major leaguers. BC's at first. Has a pretty good lead. Helms is having a great at bat.
It's a good point about kids of major leaguers. Obviously, you have to have talent to get to this level. But I think if there's a little advantage, it's just the fact that they're not overwhelmed. They've been around big league clubhouses before. They kind of know the drill. They kind of know what's expected.
Well, they've got fathered. Oh, it's a swing. Helms gets rung up on a high fastball. He doesn't agree with it.
From the naked eye, it didn't look like a swing. But sometimes when you see it again, that's going to be called most of the time.
Here's Cameron Maben, having a dad who is a big league player and knows proper technique and the important things to teach a youngster. It's got to be somewhat of an advantage as well. The hard part, I would expect, is keeping them out of the kitchen.
Yeah, the food room
in the clubhouse, because there's not only food but candy, snacks.
And then mom comes and hooks up with them right at game time, and they're all wired on candy.
Carroll is running, and Maben fouls it back. BC had a good jump. It's 1-2.
Not a bad idea. A little something going. Hit and run most likely.
Maben 0 for 3 in this ball game, and 1 for 12 in the series. Tuesday night, we'll see you at 6:30 in high definition.
Got a guy who's thrown a no-hitter. You have a guy who's won back-to-back Cy Young awards. It's a good matchup.
It is. It's a good way to start that series.
And if you've never seen Tim Lincecum, the uniqueness, as you were talking about earlier, I'd like to come out and see him in person.
BC on the move. That ball ends up in right center. Carroll stumbles and falls. Back on his feet, on his way to third, and he gets there! Oh, Brett Carroll, rumbling, stumbling,
and tumbling. Now, that wasn't a hit and run because there were 2 strikes on Cameron Maben. But because Brett was on the move, the second baseman was covering. Watch the second baseman. So there's a huge opening, and Cameron got a pitch out away, and he poked it right in that hole. Now, that was the good news. The bad news is that BC stumbled around second base, was able to regroup, and then make it to third.
Mike Lamb will pinch hit, and he takes a strike.
This is one of those nice situations as a pinch hitter to come into. First and third, 1 out. Now it gets worse, though, with an 0-2 count. As a left-handed hitter, you have that first base occupied, so the hole is open on the right side. You have a runner at third.
Lamb reaches out, strokes it to left, and it bounces over the diving Willingham and goes to the wall. Carroll scores. Maben will score. Look at Lamb going for 3. He's not going to get there. But he drives in 2, and he'll settle for a double.
Yeah, like I said, it's a great situation to hit. Mike Lamb, a little greedy, but a good piece of hitting. With 2 strikes, the pitch is away, and look how he takes it that way. The effort by Josh Willingham, he doesn't get there. Ball goes all the way to the wall, and 2 runs come in and score. So Mike Lamb with a pinch hit, double, 2 RBIs, and then he's nailed at third base.
And Bruni now faces Hanley, who has homered twice.
Hanley, by the way, Rich, with the 10 multi-homer games. That ties him for second most in club history. Ties him with Preston Wilson. Mike Lowell leads with 11 multi-hit games.
I found it ironic this morning when I opened up the league leaders to find out who was leading both leagues in RBIs. The last 2 third basemen for the Florida Marlins. Miguel Cabrera for the Tigers, Jorge Cantu for the Marlins.
By the way, the last Marlin to have a 3-homer game, Cody Ross, in September of '06.
How about a ground ball base hit to left? Will that do?
Yeah, just another 3-hit game. Back-to-back 3-hit games for Hanley. And he just stays back so well and then just throws the hands at the ball. And with swings like that, that's how you win a batting title.
Cantu doesn't have a hit today, which seems odd to say. He's had a hit in all but 1 game this year. Bounced out twice. Flied out, popped out. See what he's done in his 6-game streak.
Well, the good news, and this is what you like to see, if he cools off just a bit, then you see others pick up the slack.
It's ball 4. Bruni did not think that was a ball. You can tell by the look on his face. The caddy has a recurring role in this episode of Marlins baseball. And Matt Capps gets up. So a 9-3 ball game. Last night the Marlins put it together. The German Navy is still here. They even sit in formation.
Yeah, that is the single file formation.
Uggla's 2 for 4.
Well, again, as we saw last night, Rich, the hitting spread around in this one.
"13 hits to go with the 9 runs.
Yeah, Gabby Sanchez, a couple of hits. Dan Uggla, a couple. We talked about Hanley's 3 hits. Ronnie Paulino, 2 hits today. Brent Carroll went on base 3 times, an RBI double. Cody Ross, an RBI double. Cameron Maben with that base hit his last time up.
Uggla went after the slider. It's 1-2. Fastball misses in, and it's 2-2. Uggla this time didn't go after the slider. Counts full, 3-2. Hanley from second, Cantu from first, on the move with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. Missed with the fastball, and Uggla walks. He's continued that trend this year. A lot more patient at the plate than he was in his grip it and rip it early days from 2006 on. Uggla now has 11 walks on the season to go with 19 strikeouts. There's been a Jim Riggleman sighting. And here comes Matt Capps. Marooney called to the bullpen.
When you need a car, truck, or van, who you gonna call? Marooney!
against the Nationals. But before the Marlins can end it, they've got to finish hitting here in the bottom of the 8th. Matt Capps, who has had a terrific season as the Nationals closer, in for some work here. The Nationals, like the Marlins, have a day off tomorrow. And Capps, who is 27.
Talked a little bit to Matt Capps the other day. He had a few teams interested in him this offseason. But a lot of those teams that had an interest were interested in him as a setup guy, as an 8th inning guy. And he kind of held out, and he's happy he decided to come to the Nationals, and it's worked out so far very well.
These two guys used to work together, Paulino and Capps, in Pittsburgh, where Capps spent parts of 5 years. That would be Hanley. He singled. Misters Cantu and Ugla walked. Paulino, ground ball, diving stop. Desmond whips it on over to second. That's a heck of a play by the young shortstop of the Nationals. Marlins up 9-3. 9th inning arrives. To learn smart ways to conserve energy, log on to FPNL.com and take a free online home energy survey. And by South Florida Ford, visit SouthFloridaFord.com for great offers. This series coming to a close. The Marlins a 9-3 lead going to the 9th. Chris Coughlin hats for the kids on a Kids Sunday. And a Leo Nunez appearance. He's got to stay sharp as well. He's had a good start to 2010.
Yeah, that's right. The same situation for Leo Nunez as for Matt Capps. Getting some work here. Good fastball to start off Nieves.
Nieves, Bernardina, and then I believe the pitcher spot in the Nationals order. Liner to Cantu at first. Nunez has an out. What do you see differently in Leo Nunez in 2010 as opposed to an up and down year in 09?
Well, so far aggressive with strikes early, and that allows him to set hitters up a little bit with the changeup. I think he's had a little more command of the changeup too. And those were things he worked on in spring training.
Bernardina's second at bat. And he takes a strike.
And remember, we talked about it at the very beginning of the year. I guess it was midway through spring training. It was discovered that Nunez was tipping pitches. So it's something that he has worked on to come set the same way, have the ball in the glove the same way, and not do that. So it's something he has to work on, so all of a sudden it just becomes a habit for him.
There's that changeup, and it's 1-1. Two and two to Bernardina. This was a game where Josh Johnson was not sharp early. He threw 56 pitches through 3 innings. Brian Doherty, one of our indispensable folks at Fox Sports 4. It's hard to make a catch with a camera in one hand. He's our production manager at the Sunrise headquarters of Fox Sports Florida.
Well, had he made the catch, he would have given the ball to someone in the stands as a souvenir. I think a little out of his reach. He didn't have the dark glasses down.
He had the camera.
Yeah, he had all kinds of stuff.
How much is the camera worth that's in his hands? It's a high-def camera. It's a lot more than a baseball, I would think. So I think he gets points for that. Cantu scoops it and steps on the bag. See, Brian, if he comes away with the foul ball and loses the camera, he also probably loses his job. But he gets the ball.
But he gets the ball. Ball you could get for, what, $20?
How much is that camera worth, guys, in the truck? $75,000.
Oh, okay. I think a good choice by Brian.
Nunez working on Christian Guzman with 2 outs in the ninth. Can't get that one. He had the first 2 of the inning. Ross is going to venture into the corner. Guzman, who used to be Mr. Triple when he played in Minnesota, settles for a double.
I think I had a note on Guzman the other night. 87 career triples. That's 4th amongst active players. No chances, though, when your club losing 9-3.
Here's Adam Kennedy. This ball game, the first to start in the National League, and on track to be the first to end in the National League. The Braves are cruising 7-1 over Houston. Cardinals, I think that's a Chris Carpenter start, shutting out Cincinnati 3-0 in the 7th.
Yeah, Carpenter trying to win his 4th game, go 4-0.
The Cubs are hammering Arizona 10-2. Alfonso Soriano's hit 2 home runs. Marlon Byrd's having a pretty good year for the Cubs. He hits his 5th.
Yeah, they're not booing Marlon Byrd in Chicago. Guess why? He's playing well.
That's a veiled Milton Bradley reference. Three 3-0 to Kennedy. You know who's having a great year this year? Former Marlins shortstop Alex Gonzalez.
Had a 2-homer game the other night for the Blue Jays.
And he homered today. Gonzo has 8 home runs this year.
I think he's hitting 290, 280.
9-3. Toronto beats Oakland.
And I guarantee the Toronto fans are seeing some terrific defense from Alex, too.
All right, the German Navy says, let's end this thing. High pop, may have been battling the sun, sees it, catches it, ball game. Marlins win the series. Nunez works a scoreless night. Josh Johnson gets win number 3. The bullpen looks good. And the Marlin bats, for the second consecutive game, provide a slew of runs. Last night, 7 runs. Hanley last night had a 2-run homer. 2 more homers from Hanley in this one. And the Marlins win it in 2 hours and 50 minutes.